After Hours.
On this episode of the History of the Core's After Hours podcast, we talk about the self-described blue-collar metal band from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, known as Once Nothing. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow at IsSurvivedByProductions. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
There was a podcast with two friends, the After Hours podcast. HOTC, yeah, HOTC, yeah, HOTC, yeah, the After Hours podcast. Welcome back to the HOTC History of the Core's After Hours podcast, where each and every episode, I, Curtis, sit down with my good friend and avid listener to the History of the Core's podcast, Erik. What up, Erik?
The sky, birds.
Nice.
The price of tea in China.
Did you enjoy? Don't get me started on the tea in China. Did you enjoy that little song there?
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Couldn't have thought anything better.
Took me a whole 2 minutes to write that.
Those are the best songs.
Yes. Get in and get out. So before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I wanted to ask you, because I finally got to listen to this album yesterday. And I had mentioned it to you before. True or false, Erik? You were a fan of Between the Buried and Me's album Colors.
I really was. Like, back when it came out, what was it, 06, 07, somewhere in that range?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it was,
'Cause I can remember
07 maybe?
Boy, we were in high school, we were in middle school. And I remember rocking around with a CD player in my pocket, listening to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that, actually.
So, do you remember me mentioning to you that they released Colors 2 a couple of years ago?
I do remember this.
Have you listened to that album?
Once through so far.
Okay. What'd you think so far?
I mean, I don't know if it's a direct correlation, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Once through doesn't mean anything. I got to listen to something a couple times before I really give it a chance.
Oh, I hear you, yeah.
Right off the bat, I did not hate it. So that's a good start.
That's a good start. That's a good foundation there.
That's the first stair and the stair of 150, Got to
Right.
get all the way to the top of the mountain there. But
I mean, being Between the Buried and Me, I wonder if there's like some correlation between the two albums, like some connection. Surely there is.
well, it's
you
been
would
so
think.
long. It's not like I hate Colors now or anything like that.
It's just been
It's just
forever,
been
yeah.
so long since I was jamming to it every single day like I was
Right.
back then.
Right.
And, because you picked a CD back then, you popped that guy in your
You're
CD
stuck with
player.
that CD.
That's what you got for the, if you went to school that morning, you got that for 8 hours that day. Good luck,
was it.
coming home with that.
That's how we lived, kids. That's how we lived.
Yeah, we didn't have no podcast. We didn't have no MP3 players.
Spotify and Apple Music, and yeah, we didn't have that, man. You were committed. Once you pop that CD in, you were committed. Unless you want to go through your CD case and dig out another one, then go dig another one. Yeah.
My backpack was heavy enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it another listen. I enjoyed it so far. Gosh, Between the Buried and Me, the one thing that always makes you laugh is they always, especially like their newer stuff, they have some like weird, like kind of goofy stuff. And I don't know which song it was on this album, but there's one part where it's like they do a bunch of like cartoon sound effects in the middle of this song, and I'm like, I remember just like stopping what I'm doing, just listening and thinking, what in the world is going on, man? But that's Between the Buried and Me. They do that sometimes. They put their own little spin on it. So yeah,
Put some stank on.
cool. Okay, so we're both gonna go back and re-listen.
Give it another good go.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, cool. Well, we'll put that in the rearview mirror. Come back maybe and talk about that in the next couple of episodes later on. But today, Eric, we're going to be talking about the self-described blue-collar metal band known as Once Nothing. Where to even begin? I think this, my friend, would be a good place to start. And I know my co-host on the History of the Chorus podcast would enjoy me saying these lyrics right now. But here you go, Josh. This one's for you. You mean the world to me, but you'll never know it. Like my mouth, I'll shut my eyes, and I'll watch this die. That's How to Build a Sandcastle from Once Nothing. All right, Eric. Let me know how or when, or both, did you learn of this band known as Once Nothing?
Well, you see, several months ago, there was this podcast. I think it was like History of the Chorus, something like that. And they teased this thing, and they said, Once Nothing. I said, cool. And I went and listened to them. That was the first time.
Nice. Okay. What'd you think? First impressions.
Immediately, I kind of like them because I have this deep-seated need to have anything and everything like Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. And since they're similar, they're not the same for sure, but they got enough alike that I'm like, yes, please, I'll take more.
Yes. Yeah, and that's not going to be the last time we talk about Maylene in this episode, because they're going to be coming around a couple more times here.
And around.
Yes. So this whole moniker of blue-collar metal, Eric, what in the world? What's up with that? What do you think of that? Describing themselves as blue-collar metal.
I think it's kind of fun. Not every band can really define themselves.
Right.
But it seems like these guys kind of hit the nail on the head with it. Reminds me, I know what I'm about to mention, they're not metal per se, but reminds me of Salt Creek that I went and saw when I think it was Label Fest. I think that's what we decided that was.
Oh yeah,
with Norma Jean and everybody.
Yeah.
They were the intro act, and kind of reminded me of these guys. One fella here playing on the bass guitar, got some overalls, and looks like he needs to be chewing on a piece of grass.
Hillbilly core.
I mean, and those guys were good too. Don't get me wrong at all. Like, they shocked me actually because they got up there. I was like, oh no, like this is not going to go well.
Boy.
And like the lead singer, I think had on like a jean jacket and stuff.
Nice.
Looks like he just crawled out of 1982.
Nice.
And actually, those guys are pretty good. And it kind of reminds me similar vibes as far as like their demeanor, their core, their dress, stuff like that. Now, two different kinds of music entirely, but
yeah,
kind of got that blue collar vibe going to both of them.
What's their genre? You told me before, but I forget. Is it kind of like indie rock almost?
They're closer to like post-hardcore, indie. They're a little softer.
Okay.
I think harsh vocals, there was like one or two songs they played that might have had some.
Okay.
And it wasn't like, a whole line. It was like one or two words.
Right, yeah.
So they're not like super heavy.
Okay. Yeah, I need to check them out. I've been meaning to check them out.
They got a good clean sound too, actually.
Salt Creek.
Say it again. Salt Creek.
Creek, salt.
But
cool.
Backwards.
Yeah, I think, being from the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that's got a lot of blue collar ties to it. I wonder if they kind of take that on too. Plus, and Josh said it too in the podcast. These guys, they have day jobs. Some of them work construction. I mean, a lot of like blue collar work, and so they take that from their jobs and they bring it onto their stage presence, their albums, and yeah, so on and so forth. So I remember when the first time that I heard it, and I was just like, oh, what the heck? I gotta check this out, man, because that sounds sick as all get out, And they did not disappoint, that's for sure. Eric, Josh described Once Nothing's band history as, quote, bread sandwich. I believe what the deal was, we were saying there, how he came to that conclusion was I think I had stated at the beginning of that episode that there was not a whole lot of meat to this sandwich. And so he just plainly was just like, "Yeah, it's a bread sandwich. There's just 2 pieces of bread, no meat, man." So I almost kind of get like this vibe with this band that, like, even though they've toured around the country at times throughout their history, they just kind of give off like this local band vibe, you know? How would you describe their history?
Well, I like bread. I like
That's
sandwiches.
good, man.
But I think these guys got a little cheese between them, maybe a little butter on the
It's
outside.
got to be like a little something, right? I mean, it can't just be.
I mean,
all
they've been
bread.
touring, so they maybe even toasted on both sides.
Thinly sliced.
And once you do all that right there, you can call it a grilled cheese and sell it for $12 down the road.
All right, he took that. I don't know where the heck he went with that.
We took that metaphor and just rode it to the
He
sunset.
rode it onto the sunset, right
But-
into the sunset.
Anyway, just because they don't feel like they have a lot of depth doesn't mean it's not good.
No,
That's what
for
I'm going
sure
for.
not. But
And,
that's the cool thing to me.
What I really
is-
like with their discography, I really went digging back this time when I went back through it, and I went really into each and every little EP. A lot of times I'll not go into the EPs as much. I'll just kind of, oh yeah, that's okay.
You gotta check out the EPs,
It's
brother.
an EP. It's an EP. And these EPs, I went deep in on these, and like Waves is one that really didn't catch my attention the first time through, but this time I was like, "Whew, that's a good song.
It's a good way to start a song, man.
That is a great song." But anyway, so it's very cohesive, top to bottom. It feels good. So I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. We talked about this before with Oh Sleeper. How underrated is this band, Eric? And why, in your opinion, do you think they're not more popular than they are?
Well, I wrote down they are 100% underrated. I actually wrote down at the time when I wrote my notes at 10 p.m. last night, they had a little over 1,500 monthly listeners.
On Spotify.
On
right?
Spotify, yeah.
Okay.
And me being the newest one of those there, 1,531.
1,501.
I'm number 31, I guess. But that's just too few. Absolutely too few. These guys are fantastic.
It's criminal.
It really is.
Criminal, people. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, with Oh Sleeper, we talked about, it feels like they're just really underrated, and maybe back when they first started, in like the When I Am God age and, Sun in the Morning and Children of Fire, maybe they were a lot bigger than what I realized. But, now it's like Oh Sleeper just doesn't even seem like they're as big as they are. They're still putting out really good albums. And for like Once Nothing, like, yeah, it's not for everybody. They can go with any band, really. But, I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand why this band is not as, like, bigger than what they actually are in the end. And I don't know. I mean, they sometimes, too, I wonder if they would have committed themselves more. Because I know there was, you get to that point where it's like, okay, we're working our jobs, our day jobs just to get by, but we're playing music at night. Local shows are around the, state or neighboring states or whatever. And you get to that point where it's like, okay, I think we're going to make it. You get signed by Solid State. You get to put out your first record and it's a big hit. It's kind of like, okay, this is where we can say, okay, we're going to quit our jobs and we're going to commit to this. And, some of the guys in the band just couldn't do that. And that's fine. I mean, you have your own priorities and you have your own goals in life or whatever. But it makes me wonder sometimes, too, if they would have, like, stayed on course and went full in, if they would have been bigger and we wouldn't be talking about the question of, them being underrated or not. Of course, it sucks when it's like you only get like one album from a band and it's really good and it's like, ugh, more people need to know about this, man, So, sorry, I keep interrupting you, though.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe they just were unlucky.
Maybe
I mean,
so.
I've heard of a lot of bands. I know some really good local bands. I've known personal people that have local bands, and they're fantastic.
Right.
Some of the most talented people you'll ever meet. Some obscure little girl on, YouTube or something is probably the most talented person ever. But she won't get signed because she's not lucky. She doesn't have the backer.
Right.
Somebody giving that push to this person saying, hey, I like this person. Boston has a song, up drove a man with a big black car and a big old cigar. Said, boy, I think you're out of sight,
Out of sight.
And some people just don't find that. They just never, their breakthrough never happens.
Right.
And maybe they were just unlucky and that never happened for them.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't know. Just makes you wonder what could be, because now it's, of course, like you said, I didn't even realize that they had played a show this year so far in 2023.
They're alive.
So
Sorta,
I mean,
kinda.
they're there. I mean, they're at that point where they're just doing reunion shows, basically, quote unquote reunion shows.
Right.
But I just keep wondering. It's like, okay, are you ever going to like put out another EP? Are you ever going to
Make a tour.
Make a
Come
tour,
on down through around
whatever,
here.
something, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people do like those Kickstarter campaigns to, make an album, from their fans. But, how many fans would, be willing to do that? I don't know. Just kind of interesting. I wish there was more from them.
Well, they left us on a cliffhanger, too, with the Indiana sessions.
Yes,
Like,
man.
1, 2, 3, and?
Right.
Wait, just 3?
And I was so excited, because I really like Indiana Sessions. That's one of my favorite. And I just really was interested in the sound that they were going with. And I was like, okay, wonder what a full album of this would be, man. Because I think it would be really good. Somebody in that comment section of that video, that live video, said something about his vocals are sounding more deathcore. I was like, that's kind of interesting. I was like, you gonna go deathcore now? What's happening?
I mean, everybody else is doing it.
I guess so, man. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of these early album title names, but before I get into that, I wanted to say, and me and Josh talked about it too, it's a shame where it's like you can't even find most of these albums online, and it doesn't make sense because the band has a Bandcamp page, and you've put up a bunch of different, you've put up First Came the Law, you put up Indiana Sessions and Voice of the Paragon, and I think there was another one that was on there too.
Earth Mover,
yeah. And so it's like, okay, one of you guys from the band has to have these early EPs. It's like, can you just upload them for us so I don't have to dig through the dark web to try to find some songs, I mean, seriously.
And Once Nothing is a open enough of a sounding name that it's like, oh, that's a song name. Oh, that's a lyric or something like that.
So you just type in Once Nothing and it's like, no, this is not what I wanted, man.
Nope, that's not in our algorithm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a little tough to find things.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, some of these early album names, man, are, whew, I love these names. And the blood of the wicked shall flow like a river, a reckoning, city is surrounded, and of course you got First Came the Law. That's a sick name too. What do you think about these early album titles?
Every one of them, again, kind of feeling cohesive. They feel like they invoke this feeling of justice.
Right.
And it's like, I need to go find my staff and stand there and feel like I am the justice giver, and I'm going to listen to this song and execute justice with these guys.
Right.
Because here we go.
Yep. You really get that kind of Western vibe, like Cowboys and Indians. That's how I kind of feel it. Especially
being
with,
so southern, yeah.
Yeah, being so southern and everything. But yeah, I mean, and so when you say a justice, I think of like sheriff, man.
Yes.
With his 6-shooter at his side. Yeah.
First came the law, and
sick,
these men
man.
are the law.
Whew.
But
Well,
I
then,
really like a band with a theme anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not like y'all were talking about some those concept albums that get a little too deep.
Yeah.
But
You're in too deep, man.
reel it back in just a little bit.
Dang it, Alisana. We are Edgar Allan Poe now. That is our identity.
But I mean, I like a band with a little bit of identity on their own, though.
Right, yeah.
And that's kind of I recently found this band called Windrose, and they are a power metal band who sing about being dwarves from Middle Earth.
In too deep or not?
They might be a little too deep, but there's a few of their songs that really I like to sit there and drive to.
Okay.
It's just one of those things.
What's their name again?
Windrose.
Wind, like the wind?
Yes, whooshy wind.
Whooshy wind. Whooshy wind. Wind Rose. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do they dress up like hobbits? Are they?
Yes, they dress up like
do
dwarves.
they really? Oh my gosh,
yes.
man! I'm gonna have to look this up, man.
And they got some pretty fun music videos too.
Oh, I'm sure they do, man.
Drunken
sure they
Dwarves
do.
is specifically one of them. They got.
Is this more like Norwegian or something? Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I would have assumed they were like Norwegian or something.
No, that's like Sabaton or something. I like them too, though.
Oh, man. Wow, they are. Look like some of these outfits that make me think of like, oh, you said dwarves, right?
Yes, dwarves.
Oh, okay. I said hobbits. That's my bad. Okay, yeah. Never mind. You're right then, dwarves. Because that's what I was going to say. They look like dwarves. Because he said they're dwarves, Curtis. Anyway. Yeah, these... Oh, I mean, you know, you can just slap any name on an album and call it a day, you know. Not saying that people do that, but, I mean, these are some good album titles, man.
Well, and they kind of get you in the feeling. If you name an album correctly, I mean, it gets you in the feeling of what's going on.
Right.
Like, you guys just talked about, like, Rescue from Silverstein. It gets you thinking about what could be in that album.
Right.
And that one, kind of a concept. It's more concepty than their other concepts.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but...
Wasn't that the one, though, that... No, I think there was a different... There's a different one
That's the wind shifts.
Was it the wind shift?
That has like four concepts.
I feel like there was,
yeah.
well, in Shipwreck is the same way too, because
Yeah,
I think he
that's right.
said something about it was like, well, here's this one story, but there's a bunch of different ones in there too, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's just a regular album then. What are you talking about? Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I understand there's a story there, and I love, you know, Shipwreck, and I like how the wind shifts, but like hearing Shane talk about that, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's just a regular album then, bro. I don't know. We can talk about that when we get to Silverstein.
Yes, that's a
Don't
whole
worry,
thing to dive
that's
deep
probably going
on.
to be about a 2-hour show right there. So yeah, album titles. It's a good starting place. I mean, it'll bring you in, like you said. It kind of gives you an idea of okay, what this album might be about. You know. Okay, so "Forgive Me, Father," the acoustic song on Earth Mover. Josh stopped me when I was saying all the listing all the songs on that album, and he assumed that "Forgive Me, Father" was my favorite track on Earth Mover. Spoiler alert, it was not. I think Waves was.
That is an epic song.
Yeah, it's good. Isn't that the first song on the album too?
I think it's number 2 on.
Is it number
Earth
2?
Mover.
Is it Gunfire first and then?
I think so, but
I think you're right.
Gunfire, then Waves. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think Waves is my favorite on that album, and Goodbye Hollywood was his favorite. But yeah, he was just like, he stopped me in the middle. And he's like, "Forgive me, Father is your favorite, isn't it? I see you. What did he say? He said, "Quote, I could see you buying into that," and I was just like, "No, I don't." So I think he was talking about. He said mainly musically. Now I think he's talking overall. So my question to you is, do I look like I would, quote, buy into "Forgive Me, Father"?
Like, maybe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a good acoustic song.
Oh, yeah.
They only have 2 acoustic songs. They have this one, and they have
My Sweet Medusa?
yes, "My Sweet Medusa." Out of those 2, easily Medusa is my favorite.
Oh, that is a fantastic song, too.
I don't know. I mean, I think his singing's a little off on "Forgive Me, Father."
They're still pretty young here.
Yeah, and
They're
I
new to the
think,
game.
to be honest, I think it's a little bit on purpose that they kind of left it kind of raw and just kind of, like that. But I don't know. I'm just kind of like, eh. But I mean,
you
don't
do
get me
tend
wrong.
to like it raw.
Huh?
You do like it raw.
I do like it raw, man.
That's what we like about Silverstein. That's what, going all back to all these.
I don't know
the
though, man.
Chariot.
It's like when you're not like really singing in key, or along with the notes. I mean,
That's fair.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's a horrible singer because he does a good job on Medusa, but you talk about the production quality between Earth Mover, where they did it on their own, compared to with Solid State on First Came the Law. Yeah, it's a world of difference, But yeah, I'm just, I don't hate acoustic songs. I love acoustic songs. So, I mean, don't think that I don't like the song at all. It's just, wasn't my favorite on the album. So he kind of surprised me when he was saying that. I bet you buy into that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
No?
I like an acoustic This one, in my opinion, is a little bit long. This is
Yeah,
like 8
it kind
minutes
of
long.
drags it out. Yeah.
And I guess we're both of the ideology of get in, get out, say what you're going to say, stand up, sit down, that kind of thing.
Do your thing. Man.
I do like the feels he puts behind the voice in this one. Like, I don't know, there's almost like a point where it feels like his voice is starting to break
Emotion,
almost.
yeah. I mean, that's the rawness that I like too, and like the vocally, that and like some of the screams we can talk about at a different time though. But when I talk about liking raw vocals, but yeah, I mean, it's cool with the like the voice kind of breaking a little bit, but there's some of it's just kind of like I don't know, not my favorite.
For Earth Mover, for me, it just felt like gunfire, we're building, waves,
Right.
Whoa, we're building. My heroes are cowboys. You're just, the whole album's like building me up, and then it's whoa, what is this band going to do for me next? And then you end it with Forgive Me, Father. It's not exactly a letdown,
Yeah.
but it is a hard left turn from what you've been doing. And I don't know, I wouldn't say it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a different flavor.
Should a band end an album on an acoustic track?
Well, they did it twice, didn't they? I think Sweet Medusa's the end, didn't it?
No.
Oh, no,
Medusa's
it's
in
not.
the middle, yeah.
Now, what was the other one I was thinking?
King
Oh.
of the Law.
No, well, I wrote a note. It's right here in pink so that I wouldn't forget it.
And yet he forgot it.
So
Where's that note?
another band that I know you genuinely love did the same thing with not just an acoustic, a cappella song at the end of their album.
Was it Thrice?
Nope.
Okay, because they did one.
The Chariot. At the end of The Fiancé. The song The Trumpet.
Oh, yeah, the trumpet, yeah.
At the end of
Yeah.
that, it was...
That was a good way to do it, though. You
that
didn't
was
like it?
different. It was really different. It's like, again, it's really building and building and building. There's this tension that, the Chariot just has behind all their music and their lyrics. And
Yeah.
like I said, the rawness of that whole album. And then you cool it off with
Yeah.
that right there at the end. It's like,
Okay.
that was good.
Yeah. No, now that you say that, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's a little interesting the way that they ended that album. It's a good song, but yeah, it's kind of like,
On just tacking it on the end almost felt like,
we needed one more song. The record label wanted one more song. Let's
Well,
throw this one,
I mean, if they would have put it like next to last and then put, I don't know, is it Forgive Me Nashville that's before that?
Yeah.
Put that on the very end. I almost would have liked the way that ended things better for me. Now,
That would have been a nice ending.
because that's a
With the way
fantastic-
way
Yes.
that song ends too. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one. The part though that I really like about putting the trumpet at the end though is the fact that it announces the name. Of
That
the
is
band.
very cool.
So that's pretty cool.
But-
They used to play that live before shows when they were doing like the
Oh, that's
Fiancé
really
tour.
cool, too.
Yeah, they would play that first as they were coming out. So that's pretty cool. Makes me kind of think of like Metallica doing Ecstasy of Gold from I can never remember his name. He's an orchestra guy, but anyway, it's from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly movie. Yeah, they do that for their opening. It kind of makes me think of something like that. Did you have anything else you were gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying that other bands do that as an ending, so I'm counteracting my own argument.
Well, okay, so did
So
you,
it's
did
not
you
a
answer
bad
my
way-
question though? Do you think a band should end on an acoustic song or not?
So, and another one I thought of is actually Silverstein. The End is the end. It's an
Yeah.
acoustic song, more or less. I mean, we got some stuff going on. That's a long song too,
Yeah.
actually. Very similar to this.
Majority of it is acoustic. Let's
It's
say
a very
that.
long song too. I mean, at the very end, it kind of picks up.
right.
and,
Yeah.
But it is a longer song too. And it's a hard left turn too, because I think that's the first time from Silverstein we hear like a female vocalist with them.
Was that the only? Well, there's that whatever that lady's name is on the second to last album.
Oh, yeah.
Nokia or whatever. The
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
lady.
Yes.
Nokia phone.
But
Yeah.
so it was a really different turn for them too. And I don't know, I almost feel like they do that to drop a hook, like, hey, we're still doing stuff different. Check us out for the next album.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the way they're thinking or not, but I don't know.
I just feel like a band should end on a full band. You know, obviously there are different what am I trying to say?
Ideologies.
Well, no, I mean there are different cases where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm okay with that song. You know, like I'm okay with the trumpet in the end. I mean, if I had to say right now yes or no to it, I'll be like, yes, I'm fine with it. You know, on there, that's fine. The one I was thinking of from Thrice is the Alchemy Index, Volume 3 and 4. The last song on there it's basically all vocals, like harmonizing together or whatever. That's a good way to end it. Trying to think, there was another one I thought. Brand new on The Devil and God Are Raging Inside of Me. They finish on an acoustic track, and it's a pretty good one. And it's pretty like, I mean, there's drums and like bass in it too, but it's like a stripped down like acoustic like that, you know, not just a guitar and a vocalist. Right. So that's a good one. But yeah, I do like a band to, I mean, kind of have like the feeling of like, you know, the album's coming down, you know. Under Oath's last song on Define the Great Line, I can't remember what it's called, To Whom It May Concern. I feel like that's a good song to end on, because when it starts out, you can tell, okay, this is the final song. You just kind of get that feeling from it.
Right.
And it kind of goes through the motions in the song, but you can just tell it's like, okay, this is it. And, you know, it's a full band song and not just an acoustic. I don't know. I would rather somebody ended on like a song like that. Where it's
well,
like,
that's what I was going to say. Is there are different ideologies of how to
for sure
to build an album top to bottom.
Right.
Like, we have recorded these songs. How do we want to construct the album now?
Right.
And like you and Josh were talking about, I think it was track 7s. The epic track 7.
Lucky track 7s.
And
that's weird. That was so weird, because we just started naming off songs, and it's like you just never think about them. You're like, wow.
I kind of got to look at myself, and I was like,
track
you know,
7s, man.
honestly, those are some good ones.
It's conspiracy, bro.
It might be.
I think we just like stumbled upon some Illuminati stuff.
Uh-oh.
Oh God, we're gonna disappear. Oh my God.
But anyway, I mean, kind of like that, you know, if you're basing your, you know, you got the rise, you hit your peak at around track 7, you got your falling action, you know, like you're building a movie, like what Marvel does for us.
Right.
You got your rise, you got your fall, you got your resolution. I mean, I guess this is also an EP though too. So for an EP, I feel like you need to go.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Earth Mover. I had totally forgotten what we were talking about in terms of One's Nothing. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, on Earth Mover there with that song, it is an EP, so you gotta really go all out. And this is their, you know, first EP on here anyway, from 2007. And I mean, you gotta go all out with that EP. So somebody's like, you know, I like that band. Let's pick them up. Let's see what else they can do for us. But it's just, you know, for an actual full length album ending on it. Yeah, I think I can go with that. EPs, actually, I think that's where I draw my line.
Well, especially when you only have, was there 5 or 6 songs on that one?
I think it's more than I thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. Okay.
Yeah, so like 6 songs. I mean, that's, if you're going with the pattern of, like you said, it's like, you know, da-da-da, you know, real quick. I mean, that's not enough songs to do that. So it's like, yeah, EP's got to be like a little bit different.
That being said, it is 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And we've got some full-length albums from different bands that are completely do the whole rise and fall in like 36 minutes.
That's true. Chariot probably did it faster than that in some of their albums.
And they do build up. Man. They hit the peak and they come on back down to let you cool off.
Speaking of which, I found a band the other day, and they are, let's see, where'd they go? Okay, the band's called World Peace. They're from Oakland, California. They're like a hardcore, let's see, this says, some of the tags on here are punk, grind, hardcore, power violence. They're pretty heavy. I mean, they make me almost kind of think of like Stick to Your Guns kind of sound. A kind of heavy metalcore like that. Their songs, dude.
Power violence. I like it.
Their songs are, well, like on this one album called It Is Written, the longest song on it is 1 minute and 7 seconds. So they get in, they get out. I think it's just, I think it's a guitarist, a bassist, and a drummer. And either the guitarist or the bassist is doing vocals, but most of these songs are like 20 to 30 seconds long. I mean, I'm pretty interested to see to sit down and actually listen to them. I just kind of put it to the side and be like, okay, I'm going to check that out later on. But
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, in terms of talking about song length there, because I'm not going to lie, for a moment there in my head, I was like, why did I bring that up? Yeah. Anyway. So that was Earth Mover, Forgive Me Father. Okay, so what's up with all the streetlights and the drowning and floods, Eric?
So I went through most of their discography.
Did you get a count?
And, well, from the ones that are on Spotify.
Right.
And that goes from Earth Mover forward.
Mm-hmm.
So on Streetlights, on Earth Mover, Goodbye Hollywood talks about it. And then First Came the Law, there's Juliet or What's Left of Her.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about streetlights there. And then Drowning, Waves, they say something about drowning, and then the entire song is like a flood, drowning, destruction, whatever you want to call that entire song is that kind of idea going on anyway. And then Want to See My Bone Collection off of Voice of the Paragon is also talking about some drowning going on there.
Okay. Yeah, Josh is the one to bring that up. He's like, there's two things, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. Two things that are guaranteed in a Once Nothing song. Streetlights and drowning in a flood. And I never really thought about that before.
I mean,
I had heard
those are
them,
just a
but,
couple connections I made. Like I said, I didn't look super hard.
No,
But
I'm glad I'm glad you wrote that down though, because I would have been interested to know, statistically.
Well, I don't know statistically. I made a couple
know?
connections, and there's some things going on connecting between one to the next.
Yeah.
One word that always came to my head, but I do listen to First Came the Law a lot, and one word that they use that catches my ear funny is corpse.
Catches your ear funny.
Well, it's just it's not a word that every band uses.
Okay.
And
where do you know where they used it at? I'm trying to think in my mind.
There's 3 different songs.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
But I was looking through lyrics and stuff like that, and I'm like, that catches me funny. I don't know why, but it does.
Okay.
And then it's like As I Lay Dying used to start off like a chorus, and they would say, for this.
True, yeah.
For something. And I'm going, who else does that? I mean, that's very them.
Old English.
Yeah, it's very,
what are you doing?
very formal.
William
sounding.
Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Shakespeare core.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Our next band project.
Dude, that actually sounded kind of interesting. We'll have to do some research on that one.
That could be fun.
Well, kind of like when we talked about Oh Sleeper, I mentioned to you that one of the things that I really liked about them is throughout their discography, they have used these certain phrases in one song, and then next thing you know, they'll pick it up in another song.
And they even might take that and name a new song after it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if I had mentioned this one to you, because I mentioned it to Josh, I think. In Siren Song on When I Am God from O Sleeper, they use a line in that they end up using on their newest album in, I believe it's, Fisher, I think. No. Is it? Maybe. It's either Fisher or Of Bane and Disease. I can't remember which one. But the line is, don't turn, we need you. And I remember when I heard it on Siren Song, because Siren Song is probably one of my favorite on When I Am God. And I remember going back not too long ago and listening to it just because I was feeling it. And it got to that part, I was like, oh, shoot, no, they didn't.
There's the thread.
Yeah, I was like, there's the thread again. Add that yarn to the board, But yeah, there's that one. And then one of my other favorite ones that they use a lot is Face 'em 1 on 1,000. That one's sick. But yeah, I think I said to Josh, because he was so obsessed with it, I said something about, I'm drowning in the street lights. Let's just combine them together, man. Forget both of those. Just put them all into one.
But yes, I see there is a connection
Okay.
there. And I did like when I was listening First Came the Law with that kind of thought in my mind. I was thinking okay, what are some commonalities they're using here? And instead of saying dead body, he uses the word corpse. Instead of saying, lifeless husk, he would say corpse. Like there was no other, pseudonyms or whatever you want to call
body.
them. He used corpse for that word in First Came the Law,
Okay.
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, it
No,
again,
is
it does.
interesting 'cause I didn't even notice that.
It brings a top and a bottom to everything, and it puts it in a nice little box.
Okay.
And that we call that box "First Came the Law." I kind of like it. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen for that because
Like I said, there was 2 or 3 songs minimum that all do that, and I was like, "That's kind of cool, actually." And like I said, it got me thinking. Like I said, as I lay dying with their for this and for that, as they're starting into a chorus or whatever.
You've just hacked my brain. Now I'm not gonna be able to unhear this stuff.
You're welcome.
Ah!
This is a taste of Eric's brain, brought to you by
man.
Curtis and Josh.
Yeah, well, brought to you by Survive by Productions and all the podcasts that fall under that name. So speaking of O Sleeper, I mentioned this before in that episode. When I listen to O Sleeper, I always get the imagery of medieval warfare. Now, when I listen to Once Nothing, and I mentioned just a little bit ago, I get a picture of like cowboys and Indians, kind of Western living, a sheriff, in a 6-shooter, like you said, dishing out justice. My goodness, I cannot talk today, or any day for that matter. But I also think of Civil War, like American Civil War. When I listen to Once Nothing. And I think one of the ones that really does that for me is the album title, The City is Surrounded. I just think of like, General Sherman and like the March of the Sea and, what do they call it? I'm just going to say it's the burning of Atlanta, but I think
The
they
scorched earth type concept.
Scorched earth, concept, that, I mean, just stuff like that. So I always think about Civil War. Do you kind of get that imagery, or do you get something else besides what you said earlier, or is that it really?
I mean, that's pretty close to it. I don't know if I would have put a finger quite on it right like you did, but I mean, I do get kind of those vibes from both bands, and I like the way they do it with both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite like in your face like Sabaton, where they're talking about World War One specifically. This
Right.
album is about World War One.
Does Sabaton dress up in World War One clothing?
I don't know.
Be interested to know that. I mean, if that's what you're gonna talk about, I mean, and for that genre, it seems like everybody's dressing up like that.
They got 2 full-length albums entirely about World War One.
Oh, so they do more than just talking about World War One.
Yes, but they do have 2 full-length albums
Gotcha.
about specifically.
So if they just tour for the anniversary of those 2 albums, they have to dress up like World War One military uniforms.
We'll be expecting that from now on.
I'll be expecting that. Yeah, and I think...
But yeah, it's not in your face like that.
Right. So I think and I think I said this before too, but like with O Sleeper, I was watching a lot of like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon at that time. So, put the 2 together and it felt really good. It felt really good to have that baby. Oh boy. Okay, so you mentioned the band Maylene and the Sons of the Disaster earlier.
I sure did.
What do you think about Once Nothing and Maylene doing a split EP? How sick would that be?
Yes, please.
Oh my gosh. Please, I'm
Just-
begging.
yes,
I'm
please.
begging you people, please. If you're going to do another album forget that. Maylene, if you're going to do another album also, man. I mean, seriously, let's get this split EP going, dude.
Honestly, absolutely.
I would love to see them not just hey, we're just going to do a split EP, you get 2 songs, we'll get 2 songs. I would love to see them collaborate on this split EP, one of those.
Oh, that would be awesome too.
Alexis on Fire and Monine did on their split EP. Oh, that'd be so sick. That would be so good, man.
A couple of songs that came to mind for me though.
Yeah, let's hear
When
it.
you said Maylene, for sure. And I had been listening to a lot of The Intimidator by Once Nothing here. And they got a line in that song that says, just another angel wishing for halos.
For halos. Yep, I know where you're going.
Yep. And then Hell on the Rise
Oh, yeah.
from Maylene. Whores with halos wishing for wings. Children yearning for their disease.
Man.
And
See-
imagine each one of them doing that song. I mean,
Wow.
just with that, just one string of connection between
Right.
the two, I would love it.
Well, I was gonna say,
as a
what if-
hardcore fan of Maylene for sure,
Right.
and a new budding fan of Once Nothing, I would love that.
What if they did kind of like what I was saying, where they collaborate together on this split EP, and one of the songs they get to a part where one of them gets to sing their lyric, and the other one ties in at the very end of that one with their lyric. Dude,
it.
That would be sick.
Like, you can't see my face, but I am smiling ear to ear.
Holy crap!
That would be
we need
awesome.
we need some at Twitter handles and emails and mailing addresses and phone numbers right now, because we need to get this thing done.
Like, honestly, that would be a sick E EP.
If you guys are listening, please do that. And if you're a fan of either one of those bands, just like spam them like crazy until they do it, man, because that'd be sick. I would pay like a fundraising like deal,
Oh, yeah.
Kickstarter or GoFundMe or whatever.
Oh,
to do
yeah.
that.
I'd be in on that for sure.
I'd be have all my money.
Yes,
Take all my
might
life
as well.
savings, man.
Yeah. Get in that studio, boys.
So besides, go on, get in there. So besides Maylene, do you have any other bands in mind that you would like to see once? Oh, come on now. I was really trying to avoid this because you know who's listening on the other end of this.
Absolutely. And that's why I wore this
So,
shirt. That's why
okay.
I'm going to say this.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and prepare yourself now, Josh, because it's coming. Get your pen and paper out, because I know you're going to have something to say about this, buddy. Okay, so Eric, is there any other bands? I know there is. Is there any other bands besides Maylene that you would like Once Nothing to do a split EP with?
So, what I thought would be kind of cool.
Well, let me ask you this question real quick. Are you talking this band now or this band back in the day?
So actually, I've got two, and
Okay.
both of them in certain eras.
Okay, go ahead.
So, first one, and this is going to make Josh smile, is Memphis Mayfire.
Oh, Lord.
And I really, because their first album, their first full-length Sleepwalking, I really think they're kind of more Southern back then.
Yes.
Now, they're cleaner than, Once Nothing was
Right.
at that kind of same era. But it would be cool to see them try, do a split EP together. They're Southern. They're both different enough, though. It'd be kind of neat.
Was Sleepwalker in 07? I think it is.
Golly, I think it was. Somewhere down in there anyway.
Because if it was, that's when...
That was Earth Mover.
Was that Earth Mover?
I believe
Oh, that
so.
was Earth Mover. Well, Earth Mover and... Well, let's see. I don't know if...
Paragon says 08
Well,
on mine.
So, yeah, see, and that's the other bad thing, too, is the way that they re-release,
Right.
whatever, it's a little messed up, because Earth Mover came before Paragon, and those two came before First Came the Law. And I think First Came the Law, I'm pretty sure, is 07. And I think Earth Mover is actually like 06, maybe 05,
And
actually.
then
in
Spotify just
technicality.
puts numbers to it.
Yeah, well, and me and Josh had that talk about it too, because when we started going through the discography, he was getting confused about which ones I was talking about, because Spotify was telling him it was different. But,
Yeah, it definitely does.
yeah. So that should be First Came the Law time. I meant to look what year. The other one was Sleepwalker.
Sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 09.
Oh, okay.
07 was their EP, their self-titled EP. So, I mean, that'd be a good era.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question. I was like, wait a minute. If we're talking about now, no.
No, definitely not.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with Sleepwalker, I guess.
See, like, I'm talking about when both these bands were kind of in a prime area for it. That would be kind of neat. Now, the other one I think you actually will like better. He Is Legend during the Suck Out the Poison era. Because that is actually, we'll get to that one sunny day, I hope.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
And that's probably my favorite album from them.
Okay.
And I think kind of that sound, the pair of them doing things back and forth. Whew. Like, I was listening to Louds. And
That's a good finisher. You want to talk about a good finisher, man. Oh, my goodness, man.
But I thought, what would it sound like if Once Nothing did this song? And that's actually, even before you asked me this question, I was like, oh, well, I already have an answer for that. So, anyway, that's my actual answer is he is legend during more of that kind of
Suck out era.
suck out the poison era.
Suck era.
Yes,
Suck
the
it out.
sucky area.
and Memphis. Hold your horses, Josh. Memphis Sleepwalker era. Because I think he was okay with Sleepwalker.
Yeah, he likes that first. Well, from what he said.
Walker or walking? I'm sorry.
Sleepwalking.
Walking. Sorry. Sorry, I'm disrespecting a fan over here.
I mean, I'm not a super fan.
I was going to ask you, could you hear? I felt like I heard Josh screaming when you said Memphis on fire.
I think
Memphis
so.
May Fire.
Like all the way across town? Yeah.
I feel like I can hear his screams into
His blood
his
pressure is
headphones.
rising. He doesn't know why.
What? No. He knew what was coming. He's like, no.
I mostly did that just for the fun factor. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I think of it, I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit out on.
Like I said, mostly I did that just to raise blood pressures.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just even like that because I think because of like you said, they're cleaner. There's more production value to Sleepwalking. I did it right this time.
He's learning.
I'm learning, people. I'm learning. It's a good album. I like it. Yeah, I just don't know if it would mesh good.
Well, probably not. But
Even, I mean,
like
even
I said,
if like
he
they
is
don't,
legend, isn't
even
that
if,
what's the real
right,
answer?
even if they don't like collaborate or whatever. Just trying to think. I don't know if I could think of like another band. I don't even know if I would say like Every Time I Die because they have like some southern tie or roots.
Right. I was trying to think of somebody that's close enough but different enough that I thought it would be kind of cool like that.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I would probably just say Mailing. And in fact, I may have been the one that said that on the original recording. I can't remember. But yeah. Okay, so our little finisher here that we always do, Eric. Give me your favorite album or album, songs, lyrics. And if you got any riffs, I'm always open for that. When you said Intimidator, all I could think of was the opening riff.
I love that riff.
I don't know why, but it always makes me think of like a car starting up. I don't know why.
It's good driving music. I tell you that.
Oh, for sure.
So actually, I did put intros on there
Okay.
under riffs, like under that little section of my notes.
Yeah.
The Intimidator is definitely one of them.
Oh, yes.
And then The Dust of a Town.
Yep.
And then
Little hi-hat.
Columbus Wasn't Looking for America. Whatever the name of that song is.
Yes. Yep.
And then that all those, and there's a few others that got fantastic intros.
What do you think about? Yeah, I was about to say, what do you think about Juliet? That intro.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good
yeah.
one.
I mean, like I said, these are just top three. I just quickly penned them down, but
Ah, man,
those
Gunfire.
are, yeah,
those drums.
These guys
coming
know
in.
how to start a song. Like I don't think they've got a dog in the bunch, but I like them all.
Does it? I remember.
The way they intro. Ooh.
Yeah, this is a little bit off topic. I mean, it's on Once Nothing, but I'm getting away from the original question because I just thought about this. Josh had described the songs at times where it was like it felt like one song was like two or three like songs kind of written together, kind of mashed. Do you kind of get that feeling from Once Nothing at times?
I didn't write any down, but yeah, there's a couple songs that kind of hit me
Kinda
that
like,
way.
It's yeah.
Like, well, actually, talking about
Was it
Maylene though. That song Hell on the Rise, there actually is a break there, and then it comes back after a short pause. And used to, when I had it like on CD, I thought it was two different songs.
All right, that song's over. On to the next one.
And then it comes back, and I'm like, okay, cool, new song. And then they say the same lyrics. I'm like, wait a second. So I look at the track listing. I'm like, oh no, this is the same song. So, but that was a pause for dramatic effect type deal.
Right.
But yeah, in theirs, it almost is like you got the intro. It's strong, it's heavy, we're ready to go. In the middle, there's stuff, there's words, there's lyrics, which their lyrics are actually usually pretty
they're
great.
Good.
Like
yeah, he's a good lyrics.
They're lyricists. And then the outro, of course, doesn't hit always as hard for me as the intro, but yeah, there's a couple songs I'm thinking of that kind of do that, but.
Here's another one too. I just thought of this. Okay, so did you get to listen to the original How to Build a Sandcastle?
No, I did not.
Okay, go check it out. I
If
don't
I can
want
find it.
Yeah, well, it's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I can send it to you.
I'm having arguments with their algorithm today.
Yeah, me and Josh both were very disappointed with the original version. and we're both pretty pissed off at just what 10-15 seconds worth of a hidden track on First Came the Law. It's like, no, I mean, if you're gonna do the hidden track, just go ahead and do the whole song re-recorded. Why not, man? Because I would really like to hear it in that production,
in the studio quality.
yes, yeah, because the old version was from like 02, 03 or whatever. It was like off their very first EP, I think. And yeah, it was, the production was not good. We're going to talk about some production qualities from early albums here in this next episode. Yeah, but anyway, back to the original question about albums and songs. I didn't know if you had anything else.
Favorite album, since they only have one full-length album, is First Came the Law.
Right, that's an easy one.
But I really do like the EP Earth Mover. Like I said, I went back to that and I really started kind of digging on those. I'm like,
Dig.
yes.
Nice.
With the man with the, scooper on his arm.
Yeah.
It's a great pun there. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But anyway, so yeah, that would be a close second if you could call it an album. 6 songs is, But anyway. So far as top songs go, number 3 comes in, Whiskey Breath. Kentucky Straight from the Indiana Sessions.
Okay.
And then Gunfire is the Sound of Freedom.
Thank you, buddy. That was your number 1?
Yes, it is.
It's a good one, man.
It is a fantastic song.
That's such a good one, man.
That song gets me moving.
Trying to remember what the middle part. See, and one of the things too, and it comes out on that song, is I love the way they do that vocal, and they do it several times on First Came the Law. I'm trying to remember what it says on Gunfire, but you know what I'm talking about. It's almost like he's kind of speaking through like kind of a megaphone almost,
right?
But like kind of toned down a little bit.
One of the songs. Oh man, I forgot the name of the song. I need your silhouette to come
they do
into
it like
focus.
that. Yeah, they do it on Columbus also. Because every time I try to let go, my hands would always shake. Yeah, I'm trying to remember though what he says on Gunfire. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, the way that they do that, it's like that's a signature to me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's Once Nothing.
That's Once Nothing, and here we
for
go.
Sure. Anyway, go ahead.
So some top lyrics for me. I really from the Intimidator, that first, you want to go for a ride.
Oh, man. That growl, man.
And, yeah, he just gets in there and he,
oof,
it's good.
See, I think that goes along with what I'm saying. Like when that guitar riff comes in, it makes me think of, I always think of a car engine starting. So yeah, then it's like you're the passenger, he just looks at you, you want to go for a ride.
Yep, there you go.
And he just takes off, man.
So another good one from Whiskey Breath is, oh, what a mouth you have. Such a sharp tongue. Twist itself around with lies. Tastes like alcohol.
Man.
Like those are both like intro. Like alcohol. Yeah, those are fantastic. And then from Gunfire, closer to the end, he repeats it a couple times. I sleep on a blood-soaked mattress. Lukewarm.
It's just lukewarm, man.
It's fresh, boys.
Yes. Cool. Well, you got any final thoughts about the band Once Nothing?
Well, to quote Josh, I like them.
I like them. I really, really like them.
I do like these guys. They're quite a bit. They're heading towards the top of my list. Like,
really?
I really like these guys.
Skyrocket. Good, man. That's awesome. That warms my heart.
All 1,500 of us listeners per month.
Right. Hey, exclusive club, man. Don't you like that though? When like you find a band like that, and it's kind of disappointing. It's like, oh, I'm really disappointed that there's not more people listening. But at the same time, you're like, but I'm kind of happy that I'm listening and not everybody else is. That way you can be
I listen to such underground stuff.
Right, yeah. It would be like when you have friends be like, hey, man, I'm really into like wanting to try something new. Be like, do I have a band for you, buddy?
Where do you want to start?
Where do you want to start, man? And that's why we're here on the History of the Chorus. Yes, we talk about bands that, obviously are big, like, Norma Jean and Silverstein. I was just trying to think of the band we just did. Silverstein.
He's Legend's pretty big.
He is Legend. Alexis on Fire. Stuff like that. But then you also get bands like this, like Once Nothing, even like The Chariot. there was another one.
Touche Amore not that big
Touche
either.
Amore,
They're
yeah.
kind of middle
it's
ground, but
kind of one of those where it's like some of these bands are like you got to be in certain circles. It feels like to even know about them.
I was surprised actually. I was looking at the numbers at Fall of Troy, and they're still sitting at 300,000 per month
Yeah.
on their listeners. So,
Right.
I mean, that's pretty big for you know,
for sure.
I don't know when they got their start. I guess we'll talk about it soon, but
02, 03.
yeah, it was early
It was
2000s.
early 2000s.
So for a band that old, they're still rocking hard.
Right. Yeah. And we got some bands in the queue that I'm wanting to do more bands here and there sprinkled in with, obviously some bigger names too, but like some bands that maybe not a whole lot of people have heard of. One band that I've got in the queue coming up soon is a band that I think they're still on Solid State. It's called To Speak of Wolves. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
Yeah, they only have like 4 albums.
I wish
That
I
sounded
wish
weird.
once
They
nothing
only
had.
have 4 albums. They only have 4 albums, man. No, I mean just
Well,
like
compared
they're
to
just,
Silverstein, which you just got done with.
right? Yeah. Well, and then there's another band too that they're like Once Nothing. They only have 1 album. I don't even know if they have any EPs. They just have 1 full length album that I know of. It's called Here I Come Falling, and that was back in like mid 2000s maybe.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, they came in and then they left, and that was it. And you never heard from them again. So that's another band I kind of like to kind of check out too. But back to my point is, yes, you get some of these bands, they're bigger names, but at the same time too, you get a band like Once Nothing that their name is out there, but not a whole lot of people know about them. And if you check out this, this episode or even our original episode on History of the Corps podcast, you may pique your interest. And as always, we recommend giving these bands a chance, whether me and Josh or even Eric say yay or nay to them. So. Like Memphis Mayfire, give them a chance, just give them your own opinion. Some people in this, production company may not like them. Some do, form your own opinion. So we're just here to tell you ours though.
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, nothing else, right? You already said your
I spoke my piece.
you made your piece. Okay, good. Thank God. No. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByProductions for news and the latest episode postings. I've already screwed that up. Let me restart. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro. Pro, not Productions, Pro. For news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well. Got the original podcast here connected to this one. It's the History of the Corps podcast with me and Josh. You also have our very first podcast in this production company, the Red Right Hand podcast, where we sit down, rewatch all 6 seasons of the Peaky Blinders, talk about it, and so on and so forth. And then we have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which so far has covered season 1 of House of the Dragon, soon to be season 2, and we are currently in our Aegon the Conqueror series. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host Joshua at Joshua and Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. All right, we will see you in the next episode where we're going to be sitting down and discussing the band from Washington, not DC, but the state Washington, Pacific Northwest, known as Fall of Troy. See you.